Hello, hello, and welcome to Self Love Lunch Break with me, Diana, your sacred self love coach. And happy Thursday. What can you tell me about fear and how you're feeling at the moment? There is so much fear in the world, no matter where you are. I'd love to know where you are. If you're joining me today for Self Love Lunch Break, let me know in the comments. Where are you? Where are you dialing in from? Where are you watching from? And what are things like you are? Because what I'm picking up is everybody I'm speaking to is starting to sound more and more fearful about more and more things. Um, there have always been the fears that plague all of us as human beings, natural fears. The fear of missing out, FOMO. FOMO is a good one. FOMO is one that everyone can relate to on some level. Fear of missing out, fear of being left behind, fear of not fitting in, fear of not being good enough, fear of abandonment. Those are all natural human fears that so many of us have felt during our life. Fear of being bullied, fear of being ostracized or judged. But lately, there is such a much bigger fear, and that's all the fear that comes at us connected to COVID. And it is so legitimate because it's so real. I mean, just the numbers all around the world of people who are sick, people who are really, really struggling, and people who are dying, losing loved ones. So this fear is rooted in a very tangible experience for all of us. So it's not like saying, well, let's look at your fear of being judged and let's dig down to the root of it. It's so much easier to say that with something like that and to move stuff out of the way and there's so many ways. There's NLP, there's traditional psychotherapy, there are so many different somatic modalities, tapping, um, chanting, meditating. There is hypnosis. There's so much that you can do for these fears that are psychological, that sit in our memory bank and our mind. But when it comes to a fear that has so much more tangible reality to it, like people close to us actually dying, people close to us being sick and being sick for a very long time and struggling, and then that illness affecting and causing secondary illnesses and affecting other pre-existing conditions, it becomes something that feels so much bigger than what we are. And it can really, really take over the psyche in so many ways. It affects everything. So where one would normally, I caught myself in the past week actually. So I tend to I have a history of having sinus and low level allergies. And since coming to England, when I first arrived here, I actually used to use antihistamine tablets, very low dosage antihistamine tablets as a part of my life. And so the first year, I didn't really notice the allergies. And everyone here used to talk about pollen count and allergies. And have you had the spring or the summer allergies yet? And I was like, no, I'm fine. However, I had, as I said, been using these low-level antihistamine tablets for another reason. And over time, I weaned myself off of them completely. I don't actually use any medication anymore for anything at the moment. Knock on wood, how wonderful, how lucky am I to have this level of vitality where I don't need any medication for anything. That said, this year, in the beginning of spring, I was hit with the most intense allergy that I think I've ever experienced. And I think I've mentioned it here before, but I'm going to talk about it more because it's developed more. So somebody local told me it's tree pollen, and as I said before, I'd never heard of tree pollen as a thing, and suddenly I was thinking about tree pollen. I've always associated pollen with flowers, and I was like, well, surely allergies can't be that bad. It's just allergies, right? And I kind of struggled through it, not struggled, but used natural remedies. And I started taking, a little bit late in the season though, I started taking bee pollen tablets to try and get my system acclimatized to the area that I'm in. So it was propolis tablets made from a apiary nearby in the region that I live in. And yeah, so the allergy kind of lingered and it was a bit frustrating. And then it became quite a sinusitis type of experience. And I thought, oh boy, this is fun. Fun in inverted commas. Here I am working with allergies that have turned into sinus. And then it kind of dissipated. And I thought, oh, great. I've moved on. I've got away from it. I'm cool. And suddenly, 10 days ago, I was hit with the most intense sinus infection. Like it actually turned to an infection. So I had flu-like symptoms, major head cold symptoms, and the struggle was real. And I felt so rotten, like so rotten, that I went and got COVID tests, because obviously that's these days that's the first thing that comes to mind. So the fear of COVID jumps in. And what I'm getting to is how I surprised myself. So I wasn't feeling really well. I wasn't feeling my best. My body felt really weak. My immune system was fighting for me. She was fighting whatever was going on, whatever infection had taken place in my sinuses that had been congested from the allergies. So that fight was on. I was resting. I just started resting. I canceled a whole lot of meetings earlier this week. Last weekend, I did absolutely nothing. Rest, rest, rest. My immune system fighting the fight. Me with this kind of lingering fear, like that actually pushed me to order the COVID test. Like I must test myself, because obviously that's potentially that could be a thing. Got the COVID test, and then the feeling of I don't want to leave my house. And having this conscious realization, the actual thought, the conscious thought, and realizing that it had probably been there for quite a while, and that it wasn't necessarily linked to me feeling bad, that maybe me feeling bad was more linked to that thinking. And where did that thinking come from? And that was quite a realization, because I sat there and it came out of a silly thing, in that I needed to go and do grocery shopping. There were literally no groceries in the house. And my beautiful bonus son was kind of starting to look around in a panicky way. He went for a meal at his mom's house, which, it's like, maybe I need to get some groceries to feed this person. and and I was like, and the thought was, I don't want to leave the house. And then I thought, well, that's fair enough. I'm not feeling well. And I thought, but I don't think it's about that. And I realized that I developed a low level underlying kind of fear. And I don't want to really use that word a lot, because, I don't consider myself a fearful person. But I didn't want to leave the house. I liked the safety and the comfort of my home. And I started thinking about what everyone's saying about um, the new normal and going back out when we've been locked up, and thinking of the psychology of it, and realizing that this is affecting me as well. And I was really surprised, because I am what I like to call a flexivert, in that I can be really introverted when I need to sort of build up my energy from the inside and connect with my inner space only, and speak with my soul and connect with the creator. And that's when I go into an introverted space. But I can really be an extrovert. I can be the laugh and soul of the party. I can be that butterfly person that's flitting from group to group, connecting with different people on different levels. I absolutely love human beings. And so I call myself a flexivert. And so there I was, sitting on my sofa, not wanting to leave my house, literally consciously not wanting to leave. And it was not so much a fear as in I'm afraid of something. It was more just the sense of I don't want contact with the outside world. The outside world feels like too much for me. And I started thinking about people who suffer with agoraphobia, which is huge. But it was that sense of how does that start? Where does that start? Where does it come from? And then I just started tapping in. I was like, let me dig deeper. Let me get into where this comes from, and connecting with everything that's going around. Now, as you may or may not know about me, I stay away from mainstream media in a big way. I select the channels that I receive updates from. I'm very, very selective. For example, a couple of weeks ago, sadly, there was a terrible crime in the small town. I live in a wonderful small market town, and there was a murder. It was very tragic. I didn't know about it until, like, I think 3 days later, because my mom phoned me from South Africa to tell me about it. And she was horrified, because she and my dad watch the mainstream media news, and they knew about it already for days. I'd be talking about it, and she was quite surprised that I hadn't said anything. So that's how far away from mainstream media I stay. And so I'm very selective, and still, even being that selective about what channels I'm I'm taking in as input, I still am picking up on the overwhelm. And of course, I work with people and I'm out in the social media face all the time. So I'm connected with what's happening in the world, and that fear and that uncertainty is so intense right now in the world. That energy of uncertainty and just not knowing what's next and not knowing when and where and how we're safe, it's there. And realizing that it was affecting even me, who I consider to have to be a very strong-minded, strong-spirited, strong emotion person, I had I've been affected as well. And so that got me thinking about this fear thing. And this year, and very much in the last couple of months, I've been playing with the theme of playing and playing with life and bringing fun into my life and remembering that this is really a game. Life is what we make it. I am, as I say over and over again in all my sessions, I am not my body, I'm not my mind, I'm not my emotions. All of those things are expression of who I really am, the soul. I am a soul. I am a light being, a spirit being, and I'm here having a physical human experience. And that is what my body, mind, and emotions are, an expression of the real me. So that got me when I was thinking about my theme of fun and playing and letting connecting with soul on a deep level and allowing that expression to be what my life is about. And then thinking about this fear that had suddenly crept in, and I realized that's a trade that needs to happen. Fear for fun. And two F's, let's trade one up for the other. Let's trade fear for fun. Let's remember who we really are. And let's remember to add a bit of lightness of being to everything, as hard as it may be. You might be in the middle of of your worst experience ever. But I promise you, if you stop everything, take 5 minutes, breathe, sit quietly with yourself, tap into your innermost self, the deepest part of you, the highest intelligent part of you, the biggest energy heart part of you, the part of you that is connected with everything, the part of you that is connected with creation energy. Connect with that for 5 minutes. Just sit and breathe. You will feel lighter. You will feel like you have a broader perspective on it. You will feel a bit better about it. And only then, and from that perspective, will you be able to tap into something better, like gratitude for something. So for me, when that feeling comes in, like, I don't want to leave the house, a perfect fun exchange, to exchange that fear for fun, is to say, I get to leave the house. I get to, because I'm able to. I get to leave my house. I get to go and do some shopping. I have what it takes to leave my home and go and get some groceries or whatever else I want to get and bring that back into my home. Today, I get to get in my car and drive 3 hours to fetch my husband from the airport and come and see our friends. I get to go out for dinner this evening. I get to go and have a fantastic car driving experience tomorrow. I'm so excited. But so that's the exchange. And that can only happen when we tap into the deepest part of who we really are, connect to our soul essence, connect to our true essence, get quiet, sense into who we really are, and then connect with what matters and what will raise our vibration. So the key is to raise the vibration. So whether you are sick or not, whether you've been sick or not, whether you know people who are sick or not, whether you've lost people or not, whether you are getting the vaccine or not, whether you are wearing a mask or not, all of these things are at play. And the fact is, by raising your vibration, by elevating the way you feel, it elevates your outlook, and that elevates the energy, your energy, and straight away, by default, the energy of everything around you. So I encourage you today, trade the fear for fun where you can. And you're going to find a way in every circumstance, no matter how dire it is, I promise you, because every circumstance, I have lived through so much death, so much loss, so much trauma, so many disappointments and pain, and there is always something. I like to call it the jewel in the dust or ruby in the dust, whichever is your favorite stone, emerald in the dust. Pick a stone, pick a precious gem, and in the dirt, in the mud of whatever's going on, if you sink into the deepest part of your true essence, you will be able to find your gemstone. And there's no shame in that. There is no shame in connecting to your true essence, in connecting with joy, in connecting with purpose, with passion, and trading fear for fun. So I encourage you today to try and find a way to do that. It is self-love. That is true sacred self-love, connecting with your sacred self and switching it up, stepping up, living at a new level, vibrating at a new level, and having that ripple effect on everyone and everything around you. You matter. Everything you do has impact. You are, every time you move, it's like a pebble in the huge lake of life, and your ripples count. So make them count. So that's it from me today. Sacred self-love, trade the fear for fun in every possible moment, raise the vibration, and let's be the change we want to see in the world. Thank you so much for being with me today, for joining me. It's been a really long day for me. I woke up at 3 a.m. to do a meditation with the amazing Master Co. If you don't know him, just look up masterco.org online. He's amazing. And started my day with this incredible lesson and meditation from Master Co. And then did some exercise, jumped in the shower, and then got in the car and drove to Heathrow and went for breakfast in St. Albans. And now here I am in my beautiful friend's beautiful home. You've seen me here in this space before. And now I'm going to go and connect with my friends and my hubby. And I look forward to seeing you here, same place, same time on Tuesday. And Tuesday evening, I have the sacred sessions, the path to love, happiness, and success. And I look forward to seeing you there as well. So thank you so much for joining me. Remember to love yourself today. Sacred self-love means trading fear for fun. You can do it. All the answers you seek are within you. Mwah. Love you loads and see you soon. Ciao.